Okay, so this deserves its own video. It really does. The fact that this article even exists is so hilarious to me. It's so ridiculous that this story has gotten so big that now folks across the entire gosh darn continent are being asked about it, and there are articles being written about it too. Today we're heading over to the New York Islanders version of the hockey news, because yesterday Stephen Rossner published this piece interviewing one of the top players on the team. Bo Horvat talks about the Pettersson and Miller rift. Former Canucks captain and Islanders forward goes out there and talks about it. The rift between EP40 and JT Miller. This was published by Rossner, as we had said. It will be linked in the description. There's a lot of content in here. And the best part about this is, this story, the Pettersson-Miller drama, has gotten so huge that freaking Bo Horvat is being consulted and given a chance to talk about the matter. You know what I saw on the Our Hockey subreddit where this article was posted and commented on? I saw fans saying, "Hey, Bo, what the hell are you doing? Why are you talking about the Canucks? Focus on your own gosh darn team that's slumping right now. You have bigger issues to worry about in Long Island than to be talking about two guys that you played hockey with 2 years ago." Like, I just find it so funny how Bo Horvat, on a team that's so bad right now, has even the time to talk about Vancouver Canucks related stuff. But lo and behold, he does go out there and talk about the idea of Miller and Pettersson not liking each other. He talks about the idea of a Pettersson trade. Let's go out there and read some of the comments made by Bo. He starts by saying that when it comes to the Miller and Pettersson rift, it's definitely been blown out of proportion. It's always a tough market that way. Any little piece of information gets magnified in those situations, right? But I mean, that comes with the territory. It comes with playing there. The fans are passionate about their team. It's basically the only huge sports team besides the Lions and the Whitecaps. That's what Vancouver is all about, is the Canucks. So every little thing that's going on in that dressing room or going on with the team, it's gonna get magnified for sure, and that just comes with playing there. And I don't know when exactly this article or the quotes were said by Bo Horvat. I don't know if this is from yesterday or from before, but I will say, Bo, part of the reason this has gotten so big is because you had a teammate of yours and Brad Richardson literally go out there and say to the media the other day that, yeah, Miller's too hard on Pettersson. I even told Miller, you're too hard on this guy. And so, because we had a few days ago that commentary made, it was like, yeah, the first time anybody that's actually been in the room as a player literally confirming what we've all been hearing about. It's different when it's Bruce Boudreau alluding to a problem being there, or Rick Dhaliwal saying that Green and Boudreau and Tocchet all know that there's something there. For a player who is in the room, not as an authority figure like a coach, but as an equal, a peer, to go out there and straight up say, yeah, he's too hard on Petey. It's Miller. He's too hard on the guy. For things to have gotten to that point, it's like, yeah, now we understand that this is a legit thing and it's blown out of proportion even more because of it. So maybe the Bo Horvat comments that were talked about in this article were from before Brad Richardson's interview on the Missing Curfew pod, but let's continue anyway with what Bo says. Unfortunately, you're going to be on both sides of it, right? It's not always going to be sunshines and rainbows. There's not always going to be good things said. It's got to be a tricky situation. It's got to be tough. But if any two guys, or if anybody can handle it, those guys can. And you know what? I honestly don't know if that's 100% correct. Like, obviously, Bo Horvat knows those two guys more than I do. He knows them more than you do. But based off of everything we have seen about ELIAS Pettersson in the media and how he's in a spot where even the questions that he gets asked, they kind of tick him off, and he might shrivel away a little bit if he gets harped on too much by his teammates, I do kind of wonder if Pettersson is capable of getting over this and just getting back on his high horse, continuing playing his game and continuing to have success. I'm maybe like 10% skeptical there. Not to say that Bo Horvat is totally wrong. Obviously, we want to believe that a guy making $11.4 million a year is able to overcome things like that. But I'm not totally sure. Maybe like 90% sure. Anyways, let's continue with Bo Horvat's comments here. Miller and I, we got along great. There's going to be times when you're going to cuss each other out. There's going to be times when you're not going to like everybody, but at the same time, you respect everybody, Horvat said. You're all friends in there. You're all teammates, and you're all fighting towards the same goal. Are you going to get along all the time? No, but at the same time, he and I had a good relationship. Same with me and Petey. I was captain there, so it was my job to keep everybody even keel and to make sure everybody got along and that the team was fighting for the same thing, for the same goal. Now, this is where the article takes a little bit of an interesting turn, because the piece goes out there and writes about how Horvat and Miller may have gotten along on the ice, but a contract decision by the Canucks in 22-23 certainly took its toll on the now Islanders number 14. There's no question that Horvat wanted to stay in Vancouver, but GM Patrick Allvin had a choice to either offer his captain or Miller a long-term extension, and he chose to go with Miller. I was never mad at Miller. Honestly, the way it was all handled is what I was most upset about, Horvat said. They said one thing, and they did the complete opposite. It's just frustrating when you are told one thing and the opposite happens. That's not to say I'm not happy with where I am right now. Obviously, I love Long Island, I love being here, and I'm happy to be here, but yeah, just the way it was all handled rubbed me the wrong way. But at the same time, everything happens for a reason, and that's why I'm here. I couldn't be happier. This is where the article goes to a totally different place. It's like, yeah, Bo, what about when Patrick Allvin said he wanted to sign you and then he traded you instead? They got Miller to the long-term extension instead. You know, I found a lot of Canucks fans in the replies to Twitter and everything responding to this article and saying things like, man, Vancouver made a mistake. They should have kept Bo. They could have traded Miller away instead because now, like, yada, 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 Bo Horvat this, Miller that, Bo Horvat's a nice guy, Miller's hard on Pettersson. There's a lot of conversation going around that certainly wasn't there back in 2022, 2023. Because I think, even for Canucks fans at the time, it was a pretty kind of questionable, wishy-washy thing, considering JT Miller did not have his 100-point season yet. He had a 99-point year the year before that, but he was playing pretty poorly in 2022-2023, actually. Lazy Miller, as everybody goes out there and says. Lackadaisical, swearing, cussing everybody out JT. And the Vancouver Canucks decided to keep that guy, who was going through that season, over Bo Horvat. And I mean, next season it was seen as a pretty big win because Miller got 100 points, but still, there were dichotomies there, and people could debate one side versus the other. Now more so, it's even more of a debate because of how poorly Miller has handled the 2024-2025 season, I'd say. And maybe that's a harsh way to label it. Oh, he's handling the season poorly. But think about it. I mean, the guy took a leave of absence. The Pettersson talk died down because he's playing well when Miller was gone, and then Miller came back, and then Pettersson struggled again. This is where the season and the narrative surrounding the team, especially the team that's not winning in Vancouver, get amplified. And for Miller, you know, this is one of these things where it's like, yeah, if Bo was here instead, he wouldn't be getting a Bo Horvat versus Pettersson rift. Remember back when Bruce Boudreau was the coach too? There was an entire thing about whether Horvat or Miller was the main leader in the locker room. There was that Miller versus Horvat thing as well. I mean, Bo says here in the article that he doesn't have any problems with Miller, nor did he have any problems with him at the time, which, you know, he has to go out there and save face, right? Anyways, finalizing this entire article, Bo talks about how good ELIAS Pettersson is, he's got skill, he's got poise, etc., and then he ends up getting asked about the idea of being reunited with Pettersson. Oh god, yeah. He's a special player. He's a really good person. He's a special player that I respect a lot. I've had a lot of good success with him, too, in the past. But if I get a chance to play with him again, I would love to. We could use him. Ah, my gosh. New York Islanders beat reporters obviously have to go out there and ask the question to get everybody in Vancouver riled up. Oh, Pettersson to the Islanders? Probably not. The cap hit's pretty big, and the Isles, with Lou Lamoriello at the helm, would need to do some shenanigans trapezing around to make things work financially, but just to get the content out there. Bo Horvat speaks out about the idea of Pettersson going over to the Islanders. He would like it, which is not surprising, right? I, too, would like to see good players come over to my hockey team. But anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Bo Horvat speaking out about the Miller and Pettersson drama. What are your opinions about everything that's been going down? Article is going to be linked in the description as well. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sign on, and bye.